guys, what's up and welcome back to my channel. So today we're going to talk about another disturbing case, and one quick thing I want to say, this is pre-filmed, so if there's new information that comes out, I'm going to give you everything that's up to date as of when I'm filming this, because that's really the only thing I can do if I want you to continue to have content while I'm away and realistically can't film at the quality I'd like to film. So apologies in advance for any issues that might come up along the way. So today we're going to talk about Cynthia Hoffman, and this is going to be a bit of a heavy ride. Alaska teenager plotted best friend's murder for $9 million, police say. A man who met Denali Bremer online offered her the money to arrange the killing of Cynthia Hoffman, 19, and document the crime with photos and videos, the authorities said. Duped by a man she met online on the internet who lived nearly 4,000 miles away, an 18-year-old Alaska woman lured her best friend to a popular trailhead and carried out a murder-for-hire plot on the promise of millions, the authorities say. This is already sounding very fucked up to me for the obvious situation that you couldn't pay me any sum to murder someone I care about, which is a very obvious thing for us people who have empathy. But the idea that someone can kind of disconnect their brain in that way from like whatever feelings they have towards their best friends and just be like, okay, I'm just gonna kill them and get some money. The woman, Denali Bremer, even took Snapchat photos and videos of the homicide as proof, according to court documents filed Friday. Miss Bremer has been charged with first-degree and second-degree murder and a raft of other criminal counts in the slaying of Cynthia Hoffman, 19, who went for a hike June 2nd on the outskirts of Anchorage, where she lived but never returned. The idea of taking pictures on Snapchat as proof of a murder, this feels very Black Mirror, and I don't mean that in a way to belittle this case because it's obviously a serious case. What I mean when I say that is that it almost feels surreal that in this day and age, people are using Snapchat to document a murder. And I know that we've seen this on Facebook and Facebook Live where people do horrible things on camera, but there's something weird to me with Snapchat. I guess it's my own nostalgia because when I was younger, Snapchat was a lot more popular. Now it's kind of died, especially since they updated it. Nobody really uses it anymore. At least I don't know anyone who really uses it actively. So the fact that it's on that, something that I associate with my childhood, I think is a little bit of what makes this even weirder for me. So it says, 2 days later, investigators recovered Miss Hoffman's body on a bank of the Eklutna River near Thunderbird Falls. She had been bound with duct tape and shot in the back of the head. Can you imagine doing that to your best friend? Like, this gives me goosebumps. Like, I know people kill people they know all the time, but I suppose because they're teenagers and then it was for millions and then it was documented on Snapchat, this just feels so horrible. 6 people have been arrested in the case, which the authorities described as a catfishing scheme. Catfishing is when a person uses a false identity online to lure someone into a relationship. Miss Bremer of Anchorage started an online relationship with a man who said his name was Tyler and that he was from Kansas. The man offered Miss Bremer at least $9 million to commit murder and take photos and video of the crime. Bremer, how did she genuinely believe that some guy called Tyler in Kansas was about to drop almost $10 million for her to murder someone? Most of the time when people are catfished, it's done in a way that's subtle enough where you're like, ah, well, I can understand why it's difficult to believe they were catfished because the person seemed real. In what world would a girl in Alaska expect a guy online to not only like her, not only want to be in a relationship with her, but also want to offer her $9 million to murder her best friend? Like, why would you believe that? I'm just confused. The accused mastermind of the twisted cross-country plot is Darren Schillmiller, a 21-year-old from Indiana, who authorities said posed as Tyler and baited Miss Bremer into killing Miss Hoffman. Mr. Schillmiller, sorry if I'm butchering it, I genuinely don't know what other way I could say it, also directed Miss Bremer to sexually assault 2 minors and send him videos of those crimes, the authorities said. So this is just getting worse and worse. There's murder, there's sexual assault of minors. So this person is a murderer, an abuser, and an abuser of minors. So 3 things that for me are just at the top of the no list. These are 3 things that I despise the most: murder, rape, and especially rape or molestation, whatever, of minors. Those are 3 things I am absolutely dead set on. Like, these are one of the few things that I have an opinion on that cannot be changed. Miss Bremer recruited Caden McIntosh, 16, Caleb Leyland, 19, and 2 juveniles to participate in the planning and execution of the killing in return for money, the authorities said. The names of the other 2 suspects were withheld because of their ages. Mr. McIntosh confessed to shooting Miss Hoffman once in the back of the head with Miss Bremer's gun, prosecutors said. All 6 defendants have been charged with first-degree murder, murder, among other counts, and have pleaded not guilty. Each murder charge alone carries a sentence of 99 years in prison upon conviction. Authorities have warned that the case is a jarring reminder of the dangers of communicating with strangers online. I don't know if I'm missing a big thing, but why would anyone offer that big of a sum of money to kill a teenager? To me, it seems like prior to all this, Cynthia Hoffman was a completely regular teenager, so I'm just wondering, why would anyone spend that amount of money to have that person killed? I'm just wondering what they would get out of that. Like, aside from the pictures, are they going to try and sell those? I just don't know what the point of this was, in the sense of what are they gaining, the people that came up with this, because I don't really think it's just one person like Schillmiller, Tyler. I'm kind of wondering if there's anyone else on that back end that has something to gain from this. I don't know. I hope you rot in hell, Bremer, Miss Hoffman's father, Timothy Hoffman, said in a Facebook post on Sunday. Well, he's not wrong. But what does bother me is that authorities have warned that this case is a jarring reminder of the dangers of communicating with strangers online. Like, yes, of course, be careful when you communicate with people online, but I think there's a little bit more to this. It's not like, oh no, internet bad, you might meet a catfish. It's more also like any regular person who meets someone online who says, I'll give you $9 million to kill your best friend. Any regular person would not only turn that down, but probably report them and be very afraid, right? So it's not just a question of catfishing. It's already someone who had a screw loose or something, because no normal best friend would be like, okay, yeah, give me the 9 million and I'll just shoot her in the head or whatever. That's not how a normal person functions. So to put it as just like, oh, the internet is dangerous, watch out who you meet online, it's not just that. There's a lot more than just that, though that certainly is a part of it. Miss Hoffman went by the name Cece and graduated from high school in 2018 despite struggling with her studies because of a learning disability. Her father is a handyman and she was his apprentice. Since she disappeared, Miss Hoffman's father has shared his reactions publicly on Facebook. So Hoffman's dad posted a poem on Tuesday and it said, quick note before I read the poem, I think a lot of it was auto-corrected on his phone when he posted it, so there are some grammatical errors. I don't necessarily want to correct them because I don't want to misspeak or assume it's one word when it's possibly another, so I'm just going to read it as it was written. The message is still clear enough. This is a poem I called Nightmare in My Head. My daughter hung out with somebody she thought with her best friend and she thought was having fun. My daughter got convinced to be a duct taped in my head. My daughter's calling my name in my head. My daughter's panicking in my head. They pulled the duct tape off some of her in my head. My daughter said she's gonna call the police in my head. My daughter turned around to grab her phone in my head. While her back was turned, she got shot through the head. So it seems like there were a couple of misspellings, but I think we all understood the main point. When questioned by federal agents and the Indiana State Police, Mr. Schillmiller admitted to catfishing Bremer. Prosecutors said the defendants selected Miss Hoffman, who was quote-unquote best friends with Miss Bremer, to be their victim. Mr. Schillmiller told investigators that Miss Bremer communicated with him throughout the killing and sent him Snapchat photos and videos of Miss Hoffman when she was tied up and after she was killed. He admitted to convincing Bremer that he was a millionaire and that he would pay her millions of dollars to kill Hoffman. Video of one of the assaults Mr. Schillmiller directed Miss Bremer to carry out was recovered by investigators. Miss Bremer's lawyer, Emily Cooper, an assistant public advocate, did not respond to her request to comment. Miss Hoffman's funeral was June 13th. As of today, it is June 21st. So this was a relatively short way to tell a long and complicated story, because obviously there is a lot to this, between a best friend who somehow agrees to kill her best friend for $9 million and who is easily duped, which is kind of what surprised me. It surprises me that she was so easily duped, because I feel like most teenagers today, at least towards the higher end of teenagers, realize that being catfished is a thing, and that also to not believe what people on the internet just say. Like, if I go on the internet, put someone else's picture, I could easily say, oh, I'm a millionaire and I'm also a princess and I also own 20 unicorns. And I feel like a regular person would be like, okay, no, what are the odds that I'd meet a millionaire online who's into me, who's offering me money to kill my best friend? Like, this story baffles me because it makes no sense to me. Usually I can see what someone was going for, but here I just don't know. It kind of just makes me wonder whether Schillmiller is a kind of psychopath who just like enjoys the fact that he could control someone else so much that he made Bremer kill her quote-unquote best friend. That's the only thing, because otherwise he didn't get anything out of it aside from that, did he? So I'm wondering if it's just like the enjoyment of manipulation, the enjoyment of having someone so easily manipulated by you that you can ask them to do the unthinkable and they'll do it because you're just saying you have money and not proving it whatsoever. The other thing I'm wondering is whether Bremer's relationship with Hoffman was already strained, or whether something was going on, or whether Bremer already had some kind of mental disconnect that would allow her to easily turn against her, because like I said, in regular friendships that doesn't really happen. So I'm wondering if Schillmiller was kind of like preying on a friendship he knew was weak, or if he was preying on someone who he knew had homicidal tendencies. I'm just kind of wondering what really made him choose Bremer over anyone else, and why Hoffman had to be the one that was killed. Anyway, this story is horrendous, and one of the reasons I also wanted to talk about it is because women are also criminals, which is obvious, but at the same time I feel like people tend to be less afraid of women, which, whatever, be afraid of whoever you want, but it's also like we need to keep in mind that there are women who are criminal, there are women who will abuse you, there are women who are horrible people. Like, every group of people has horrible people, but for some reason I think that women are often given passes, like we don't think that they're capable of shit like this, when in reality the horrible gene does not discriminate men and women. So I thought it would be interesting to talk about a woman, since I don't often talk about women killers. Let me know in the comments down below what you think, or what surprised you the most, or what you think the point was of all of this, especially from Schillmiller's point of view. Like, what do you think he really wanted to get out of this, and do you think he got what he wanted? Anyways, guys, thank you so much for watching. Thank you to my patrons as always, and let's get right into